So if you're my best friend, if you're my sister, you're my neighbor, you're my child, you're not investing. And don't get me wrong, I am an aggressive business person. I'm a capitalist through and through, 100% business oriented. I was just born that way. God made me that way. But I'm also like, I don't know what your background is in terms, whoever's asking, right? Or the people listening. I don't know if your background is, hey, I have children to support. Hey, I have a mortgage due or rent due. I don't know if your background is, hey, I don't know what I have some money is and I have a little bit. I don't know what those parameters are. So without that information off the top, I would say you're not putting any money into anything. You can demo trade to practice while you're getting the skill set. I would do that. I'm 100% for the Tony Robbins, burn your boats, go all in, blah, that concept. When you have a skill set, when you're certain personality type, sure, that is possible. But in general, across the board, I'm telling you, you're probably better off pick one strategy, one person, one method, and adapt it to yourself. Demo trade only. Get some stream of flow to where at least you're not worried about, can I pay my groceries or whatever you're at in life next month? Because here's the problem. If you come to this trade, and let's just say a day like this, I'm looking at it like, hey, we made 3,500. It's not enough to withdraw in 2 of these accounts. It's fine. It is what it is. But I'm not completely panicked. If you are in this position, let's say it's your personal account, not even a prop account, you're going to see this and you're going to see, well, this was $500. I could have paid my rent. You're going to catch some of it and you're going to try to take another entry. You're going to try to take another entry. And by the time you get here, especially in a chop day like this, you're probably going to have blown the account. If not blown, you're probably sitting close to break even at best case scenario. And now you're at more of a deficit than you're currently at. So to me, if you're my best friend, you need to have some level of, I don't have to be doing the best, but I can't be sinking, because it's very hard to start trading if you're already sinking, in my opinion. And that goes for all businesses. I truly believe that. Now, granted, I know there's the stories out there that are like, hey, I bootstrapped it and I started a business from the trunk of my car, and that's awesome. I am that girl. I have stories very comparable. My own story is very comparable to that. But you have to have some amount of, I'm okay here and I'm going to go all the way in. And that is probably number one, is you can't trade until you're at least break even, you're afloat. And then number two, obviously, is demo. Pick one thing. And then number three is, let's say you can cultivate a little bit of a budget, or I don't know what your nest egg is. Maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 2,000. Hey, I've got 50,000. Those are all very different levels. But let's say you've got a couple of thousand. Because I am a capitalist, because I am business oriented, I would say, cool, I'm willing to risk X amount of dollars of this only after I've proven that I can trade for at least 30 days. Because I know when you're tight, 30 sounds like a lot. In different circumstances, I would say 90 days. But let's say 30 days of demo trading. Now I'm willing to risk, let's say, a couple $100 of my 10,000, right? I'm willing to put $500 in, because the truth is, I'd have to find it, but you can turn $500 into a lot of money. It is possible in the next amount of few weeks, months. It's very rare. So remember, you've got a 1% to 2% chance of having success in really any business. But even as a trader, most 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, right? It's pretty grim. 98% of traders fail pretty quickly. So these are all statistics we already know. So now that I've given you the downside, let's talk about the upside. Honestly, here, it is possible. 72 trades. We just saw, we took one trade. It lasted a couple of minutes, but figure this is in 72 trades. Let's put this at $500. Let's say I only have $500. Now, this doesn't work if you can't prove you have the skill set. This risk is very high. Obviously, it's not recommended. This is like, hey, I might lose this all, but I can accept that. I've proven I've got a skill set. This is not high. 65% is very attainable. It is not some number that's out of this world. Hey, you have to be 100% accurate. This is extremely high. So I'm going to put that down to at least 5%, averaging about a 2 to 1. You can turn that $500 into 20,000. And that's not best case scenario. If I recalculate this lots of times, you've got 9,000, 20,000, 68,000, 43. So this is what's possible, 72 trades. And figure that takes you a couple of months. Maybe it takes you a couple of weeks, depending on how much mental and emotional control you have. But when your psyche is already a mess because now you're struggling and you're all over the place, it's not a great time to go try to accomplish something like this. You're more likely to fail. So there's just no way around that, in my opinion. So again, very possible. But first you have to prove you have the skill set and your head's got to be right. And if you're like, hey, I can't pay my rent in 3 weeks, your mind is probably not right. It might be, it's possible, but not very likely at all. So I don't know, does that answer that question, or that message?
Yes, it does. Because I know you've talked about it, Limji's talked about it, a couple of other people have talked about just how the difference in the mindset shifts. And even myself, I've seen it too, how you're able to make better decisions when there's not pressure. Because it adds a whole other layer of pressure where you wouldn't make certain decisions. And one of the things that I think is beautiful about trading is that I think once we start to become better at it, it just kind of shifts how we see things in life. So even though stuff is popping off in the world, we can feel some kind of way, but it's easier to get back to that neutral place, if that makes sense. Because in trading, I feel like that's the best set of decisions we will make.
I agree with that. Because if you're in this position where it's your last dollar and you're not okay mentally and emotionally, I'm not saying miracles don't happen. I'm not saying you can't Tony Robbins it and burn the boats and go all in. I'm just saying, especially in a field like this, look at this chop fest. So yes, this is possible. $70,000 figure after taxes and fees and in and out and everything you got to face. You're probably looking at 50. We already know that. But look, this is also real trading. Now, granted, this was yesterday. Let's get out of that. Yesterday was this clean move up and a clean move down, reasonably easy, right? Not every moment's like that. And when you're in a bad mindset and you just finished dinner, you try to come take this trade and you lose it. And you try to come take this trade and you lose. It's this never ending cycle of 24-hour access, 5.5 days a week to bad decisions. So to me, it really depends on what your responsibilities are to others, right? It depends on what your overhead is and how far off you are. It depends on how mentally, emotionally healthy you are. And I don't mean that as a dig. I'm not your counselor. I would just say it's a big deal because your psyche has got to be right. Otherwise, the decisions you're going to make, you're going to end up in more of a deficit than less of a deficit most often. Now, again, from the girl who believes that every single person on this call listening in right now or listening in on YouTube, you guys can be part of the 1% to 2%. The statistics are what? 98% of Americans are dead or dead broke by the age of 65. So you can be part of the 1% to 2%, but you have to start doing the things the 1% to 2% are doing. And that includes in your mindset, in your life, in your decisions, in your spending, in your diet, in the way you treat your people, the way you maintain your home, the decisions you make. It's not just in trading. You don't become that 1% to 2% in only the purple and green candles on your chart. It's selling off again. That's not when you become that in other areas, in maintaining a bedtime, in stretching or doing your yoga or a walk or something. You don't have to be 100% because you never will, neither will I. But you become that 1% to 2% by all the other actions that you do. Because what is that expression? How you do anything is how you do everything. And that's where I'd probably end that because it's a big deal. But it's possible. It's right here. You can compound $1,000 into 6 figures. 5% is very high risk. You need to prove that you have the skill set before you're risking that. Otherwise, you should be risking 1% is what you should be risking if you have not proven you have the skill set. When you've proven that you can maintain 65% accuracy, as you know, is a D. It's a D plus and a D regular, not even a D in high school, right? In your grading, this is a D. This is a very practical number. This is harder if you're trying to lock profits and stuff, but this is possible. If I recalculate that, $1,000, 5% risk, and I just keep recalculating it, you're talking 6 figures, right? We've seen as low as $14,000 if you track this number right here. So risking $1,000, 5% risk, 65% accuracy, very doable. 2.1, right? So that means you have to let some of your winners run a little bit past that too. And you just keep doing it. You're talking potentially 6 figures, 7,000. Turn $1,000 into 7,000. That is not a bad day. 55,000 is very possible. So it's possible. You just got to do the work, and hopefully that helps.
Thanks. And I have one more thing. I know I mentioned it once in the class before, and I think in a conversation you and I had, where a church I went to years and years ago, they had this amazing financial discipleship class. But even to be a part of that, they were like, hey, you have to have at least $500 extra a month with no demands on it. And so for a lot of people, it was inspiration. Even for me, it was inspiration that I want to be a part of this program. So it was like I worked my way up to making sure that I was able to have that so I could be a part of the program to do the thing. So sometimes I think it's building an additional money muscle by saying, hey, like you said, be in demo. And in the meantime, let me just either get more funds or get a way to get more funds. Not saying that door is ever closed. It's just saying the strategy to get there might be a little bit different.
100% money. I believe that money is everywhere. You can DoorDash, you can Instacart. I know that they're not taking as many people. Truck drive. There's so many things that you can go make some money on. You can sell a lot of the stuff that you have floating around that you didn't know you don't need. It just get rid of all the clutter, make room in your life. There's 100 ways to go get back to break even, get back to okay, or to find that buffer. There's a part-time job. And I know that's not ideal for a lot of people. You guys are here not to get a job, but you can ask other traders. A lot of them started making money after they got a job. So there's some younger guys who were like, hey, I was going to prove I was going to make $1 bajillion. He didn't start making money until he got this part-time job that was now, he wasn't looking at money the same. So now when he made the money on the chart, he treated it differently. And he wasn't coming from a place of destitution. He was coming from a place of possibility, a place of discipline, a place of, wait, I do value the $50 because it's hard to value the $50 when you know that there's technically 5,000 right here. It's very hard. But if you go to work all day and you have to earn the $50, you might look at the $50 here a little differently and stop giving it back all the time. It's huge. So finding that buffer, I think, is a huge, great tip too.